Hello and welcome to Inspire Resources LLC's author, strategist, and storytelling strategies. Today we are going to be talking about book building, whether you are building a book business or you're just writing a book. I am your host, Felicia Kelly Brickens. I am your author storytelling strategist, and I am going to give you some tips today that I hope will be helpful to you as an aspiring author. I also hope that this particular training or these 5 tips that I'm going to share with you will give you some motivation and encouragement if you have not started on your book writing journey, that this will help you to do so. Now, over the years, I have learned that writing a book and building an author career are two very different things. Let me just start with that. That is two different things. You wrote a book, great, but are you trying to start an author business? Are you trying to create other products and services from that? If so, then you are doing two different things at this time. Now, I want to also share that I am an author of multiple books. I have a trilogy out, which is called The Ways Trilogy. And the first book with that is Sister Nadine's Ways. That is connected to all the other books in my series. My stories, gratefully and humbly, have expanded beyond the pages of just my book and my book series. They have gone on to be stage productions. They are theatrical vignettes. I have created a nonprofit called Safe Space. So they have now also become mental health discussion platforms. They are workshops. They are workbooks. Transformational Ways of a Woman comes from that book series. And I have community programs that I speak at because of my book series and my book platform. I am also a 2-time award winning best screenwriter in the Jackson Film Festival. And I have received an award for 2024 for The Ways of the Saints, which is my screenwriting debut, and also for 2025 for May Pops and Murder. Those are my 2 screenwriting projects that have been birthed forth since I wrote my book. Tell you a little bit about Inspired Resources LLC, which for many is known as Write the Vision, Aspiring Authors and Writers Workshop. Now, that began in 2015. Well, no, I'm sorry, not 2015. That began for me in 2015 for Write the Vision Writers Workshop. I'm thinking about my film script. But it was 2015 when we had our very first writers workshop, and I had not gotten my book fully out and going yet, but I knew that I wanted to share my experience with other aspiring writers to be a help to them, and I also had started to think about what are the things I might want to do. How far could I take this book? That was before I even thought about the series. That was just with Sister Nadine's Ways. And since that time, as I mentioned about the stage production, we've created also the Brownie Collective, which is our group of cast members that are part of the Brownie. And they are some cast members that were formed from the book. So that's another thing that I did with my book. And so today I want to have a conversation with you all about things like that. What things can you do to turn your book into a business or a advocacy piece, something that brings about community awareness. How can you make that into a business if that is something that you are considering? Which again can also fall under my previous webinars or series on the cost of storytelling, because this may be something that can come next for you as a published author. Okay. Now, I'm sharing these accomplishments with you, not to just, give you a list or brag on myself about anything that I have done, but I wanted to share this list with you because I wanted you to know that there are several other ways or opportunities that you can monetize your book, and you can stop treating your book as though the final destination is that you just have a book in your hand. I shared those things with you so that you would understand that there are several other things you can possibly consider to do to take your book to the next level, if that is something that you are interested in doing. So now that I've done that, let's kind of get started into this. I want to begin by letting you know that a book can become the beginning of an entire body of work. Just based on what I just shared with you, as you can see, there are so many things that can come from a book. And you don't have to do a series, it can be that one book. Especially as an entrepreneur, if you're able to write a book to meet a need for someone else, you can do all kinds of things from that book. That book can become a program, it could be a stage production, it can be a discussion series. You can create a curriculum from that book. It can become the foundation of your speaking platform. It can also be your intellectual property, and from there, it can continue to impact people in the community or your income long after the book has been written, or long after your first book has been written. So, saying all of that, it brings me to today's question, which is, are you writing a book or building an author business? And that may have been something that none of you all have thought of before, but now is a good time. Are you writing a book or are you building an author business? Because you see, there's a difference. Writing the book is just the creative work. That's the creative part of it. Building an author business, now that requires strategy, okay? One is just writing the book, that's creative work. But creating an author business requires a strategy. So I want to talk about some of those things today with you, about those strategies. And there'll be some other continued videos around this topic. We're going to start out today, though. I want to talk about your author identity. Okay, we're going to talk about your author identity. And later on, we'll discuss some other things in other parts of the series on writing a book or building an author business strategy. Okay, let's start with author identity. That is very important. Your author identity, that is bigger than your name on the cover of a book. I have been doing this for some time now, and I have learned that along the way. It is a valuable thing to remember. And so it may have taken me 2 or 3 years to figure that out, but because you're watching this today, you can figure it out immediately and from the start of your author journey. Just remember, your author identity is bigger than your name on the cover of a book. I mean, it's what people understand about you, okay? The subjects that you address and the value that they can expect whenever they encounter your work, or whenever they see that you're going to be speaking or be at an event, or they pick up something with your name on it. That's part of your author identity. So let's get into that. What does all that mean, Felicia? What does that mean for me when you say my author identity? Well, tip number one for you is it means that you need to know what you want to be known for. Got that? Number one, dealing with your author identity. You want to know what you want to be known for. You should be able to identify the central subjects or main platforms that connect your books, your programs, your public speaking, all of that to your author brand. What are you known for? You should ask yourself, what subjects do I consistently write about? That's part of your author identity, what you're known for. What problems do you help people solve or help them to understand? What conversations do your books or your book make possible? What emotions or experiences appear repeatedly in your work that create your brand, your platform? For me, I can say that it is dealing with mental health wellness, the challenges, intergenerational trauma, faith biases and stigmas when it comes to mental health. Those are the things that make up my author identity. My work frequently addresses those things, and it addresses that emotional wellness and hidden trauma and authority, accountability, and the consequences of what families refuse to discuss. And so, because of that, that has become known as my author identity. That helps people understand my platform for my books. Okay. Your identity should give readers a lesson. They should give them a lesson about who you are. Not only a lesson about who you are, but also a reason to remember you beyond that book title. Identifying yourself as this author that has this particular platform teaches them so much about you, your readers, and your fans. And so they're going to remember you and identify your touch, and your input in anything that you're connected to because of the way that you have branded yourself. Okay, so don't forget, number one, know what you want to be known for when it comes to your author identity. Number two, develop a clear author message. That is so, so important. You need a language that explains what your work expresses, what it represents. One of the things that I really stand by is I don't like to create stories for entertainment. I create them so that we no longer have silence around the issues of intergenerational trauma and mental health and wellness and mental health challenges. That's why I create stories. I want to create a discussion for safe spaces. Okay, so it's important that your readers understand your author message. That's number two of your author identity. Your author message should communicate what you create, who you create it for, why it matters, what makes your perspective different. Those things make up your author message. Again, what you create, who you create it for, why it matters, and what makes your perspective different. What makes you stand out? Number three, when you're talking about your author identity, stop allowing every book to look like a separate identity. If you are going to establish your brand, your message, you need to connect everything that you are writing with your author identity. It should be simple for people to know this is something that is connected to this particular author because this is this author's brand, their identity. Even with me, writing anything other than the Ray series, I have to consider, how does this tie into my platform or my brand? Because I deal with intergenerational trauma, And because I deal with mental health, even if I'm asked to collaborate on a book or to participate in an anthology, I have to see how will that fit into my platform that my readers and my fans know me for. Okay. I can't go off and just do something totally different and it not tie into what they know me for because it's going to make me unfamiliar to them. It can be confusing. Okay. So, as an aspiring author, I want you to know the importance of not allowing every book to have a separate identity when you are trying to establish your author identity. I mean, you can't go from mental health to a romance novel. That's what I'm saying to you. You can't go to, okay, I think I'm going to write a devotional next month. And then a few months after that, you're doing a children's book. Doing that causes confusion. And the author never understands your clear, and the reader never understands a clear author identity of your branding and your platform. Okay? That's number 3 of your author identity. Stop allowing every book to look separate identity when it comes to the identity. Stick with a consistent brand or platform. I mean, you can write in more than one genre, but your audience needs a clear bridge, a clear understanding between those projects. They still have to have that foundational thing that identifies you as a certain particular author with a particular message or platform. Now, my books, my screenplays, my theatrical vignettes, and my mental health discussions, they may all take on different forms for as how they are presented or how the message is put out there, but they are all connected through my storytelling, through my emotional truth, through my healing, accountability, and through my community conversations, because they all come back full circle to dealing with mental wellness and mental health challenges and how those things are perceived and looked at in the households of faith. That is my author identity. Even though I have presented these things in several different ways, they still have the same basic foundational platform. Okay. Number 4 of your author identity. Make sure that you build authority around the subjects inside your books. What do I mean by that? By building authority around the subjects inside your books. I mean, do not only identify yourself as someone who wrote a book. Okay. You're not just somebody, oh, I just wrote a book. That's all. Where is your authority? Someone that can teach, someone that can lead discussions, someone that can talk about the different subjects that's connected to their book. That's the person that is building authority around their book or book series. If you are someone that can write about grief and you can lead conversations around that and facilitate discussions, that right there is showing your authority, okay? It's showing your authority around that subject that you deal with or talk about or have written about, which is grief. A children's book author, they can talk about literacy, they can talk about emotional intelligence, they can talk about youth development. Again, that is their authority built around the subjects in their book. Got it? That's number 4 for your author identity. Building authority around the subject inside your book. Because the book, you have to remember, the book introduces or is going to introduce your perspective, okay? Your ability to go beyond that book and to teach about what is in that book. It's what helps to establish your authority. And that is why I say build authority around the subject that is inside your book. That is a part of your author identity. And now we come to number 5. Tip number 5 when it comes to your author identity. Make your biography support your future direction. What do I mean by that? Making your biography support your future direction. I mean that your author biography should not just list everything you've done. It should position you for what it is that you want to do next. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to take this to the next level? Well, let your biography reflect that. When you're writing your author biography, it's important that you emphasize the accomplishments, okay? That you emphasize your experience, your areas of expertise. All of those things are going to support what you desire to do in the future. The opportunities that you desire to come to you, things you want to participate in, the platforms that you want to be on, those things make that happen. So make sure that you have that in your author biography. Your experience and your areas of expertise. Tell people where you can fit in, where you can go, where you are capable of going when it comes to stages and platforms. Let me just give an example. So let's say you're an author, you've been invited to speak at an event. So as that speaker, you want to make sure that you mention about the books that are relevant to the event that you're speaking at. You want to tell them about your past speaking experience, any awards that you've gotten, any programs that you've developed, the audiences that you served, your areas of expertise, your community impact. All of this is part of your author biography. And it helps people to immediately understand why you have been invited into the room. And it helps them to understand why they can invite you to other rooms and other platforms because of what is inside your book, the authority you have established, and because your biography shows them that you are ready to go into the future in another direction or on another platform. So that is all I have to share with you today when it comes to author identity. Again, this is just part 1 of Are You Writing a Book or Are You Creating an Author Business? Don't forget the tips that we talked about today, okay? Number 1, make sure you know what you want to be known for, okay? What subject do you consistently write about? What conversations do your books make possible? What problems do you help people solve? Know what you want to be known for. Number 2, develop a clear author message, okay? Make sure that you create a message that explains what your work represents, what it is about. That message is important. It identifies you. Communicate what it is that you create, okay? I think it's important also that you communicate why it matters, okay? Communicate also why it matters when you're developing that clear author message. Number 3, stop allowing every book to look like a separate identity. Just like we said earlier, your books all need to tie into that platform of branding that you are trying to establish so that your audience identifies you easily and can always connect you to these things. When they see something going on that your name is attached to it, they pretty much expect and know in their heads what it's going to be centered around. Number 4, build authority around the subjects inside your book. Okay? Build authority around the subjects inside your book. Identify yourself as more than a person that wrote a book. Identify yourself as an expert in a particular area, that you are capable of being a storyteller of things dealing around that area or in that focus area or platform. The book introduces your perspective, but your teaching establishes your authority. And number 5, make your biography support your future direction. It should position you to be able to go to the next level when you're in a room. The people in that room should be to hear your accomplishments and know that you are ready to move into the next level space. That's all I have for right now. I hope that you will come back for part 2 as we talk about, are you writing a book or are you establishing an author business? My name is Felicia Kelly Brookins. If you would like to connect with me, you can do so at authorfeliciabrookins@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you more about establishing your author identity. Next, we're going to be talking about our book promotions when it comes to writing a book or establishing an author business. So make sure you look out for part 2 of our series, which is going to be talking about book promotions.